Betting is your home for picks, props, and futures for tonight's action. Bettor Sports Betting wants to know what picks you're playing tonight. Tell us in the live chat on YouTube, Twitter, and the Bettor Sports Network app. This is Bettor Sports Betting with Fantasy Alarm's Dan Servodidio.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back into the Bettor Sports Betting Show here with you live, coming at you every day, 4 o'clock Eastern, with my guy, Howard Bender, the Roto Buzz guy. What's up, Howard? How was your weekend? Ready for some MLB picks for tonight?
Oh, you thought I was frozen there for a second, didn't you?
You had me freaking out because it's happened to me before. So
I'm trying to come up with more creative entrances, and it's always been like this or like
well, you
that.
know what? I saw your eyes moving, but I thought my audio wasn't working. You were just like waiting for me to start talking or something. I was like, I've been talking here.
This is more about giving our producer Adam Bernard a heart attack than anything else.
I think he did. I think he did.
Let's do it. Yeah, good weekend here for me, baseball wise. Well, all betting wise, actually. I didn't play heavy this weekend. I did baseball on Saturday, and I actually went 3-0 on my best bets over at Fantasy Alarm.
Nice.
Blue Jays money line, Cubs Padres first 5 innings. I took the under. Astros run line helped me out, so that was really good. And then I've been championing this whole I don't know what Bobrovsky's going to do. So I took the Vegas money line on the on game 1 for the Stanley Cup playoffs, and I cashed that one. There's a little bit of juice on it. I think I got it for like minus 142 or something stupid like that. But whatever. It's still money.
Yeah, it cashed. I mean, you won the bet. Awesome. Yeah, we're going to be talking some Stanley Cup Finals, game 2 tonight. Bringing on our producer a little bit later, Adam Bernard, to give his thoughts and a little pick. So we'll get that done for you guys, give you some picks for that. But we're talking MLB, best bets, player props, and all that today on the show. If you guys got any questions, comments, picks that you got thoughts on for this week or tonight, definitely hit us up in the chat. Wherever you're watching this, on the app, on YouTube, on if you're clicked in through Discord, where we got a post up on Fantasy Alarm. If you click through there and you're watching, whether it's on Twitter or YouTube, definitely get your questions in because we'll be happy to answer and bounce any thoughts off of us, off of each other. I wanted, by the way, so we got baseball today. We got Rays Red Sox coming up, and I want to give a pick out to the people. If you guys want to sweat a pick with me live on the show today, this is going to be Servo Sweat today. I got the Red Sox team total over 3.5. It's about minus 130 I got on DraftKings, but I like this team total at 3.5. It's low because they're facing Shane McClanahan, which obviously a tough matchup. But I like this Red Sox offense at home, and I like them against lefties. They're top 5 offense over the past week against lefties. And this team total's down a touch because they've only scored 2 in back-to-back games against the Rays. But I think they can stretch a couple cross against McClanahan. And we all know the Rays bullpen is among the league's worst right now. So once McClanahan's out, I think they can even get a couple more. So I like this team total over 3.5. That game's starting up in about 2 minutes. So if you want to get that pick in and sweat with me, we'll give some updates on the show as you guys are watching along. What do you think about that pick? You for or against that with me?
I'm kind of like I'm right there on the fence with it. I mean, listen, I love Shane McClanahan. I do. Yeah. But his road numbers don't look as tasty as his home numbers do. Like you said, Red Sox at home, their offense has been fantastic. I was kind of toying with the idea of taking the over in this game, but it was 9 when I was looking at it this morning because, it was like McClanahan and Bello and, we're looking at the Rays offense. Bello doesn't scare me at all, but the Rays have been, kind of soft at the plate over the past week. Not really great, power numbers, not great weighted on base average. And so I kind of worried about taking the over there. I mean, I think the Red Sox team total, you're getting it for minus 125 on DK. So, we're kind of siding with you. But, yeah, I mean, listen, if they can get 1 or 2 runs on McClanahan, and maybe he goes, 6 innings, 6 1/3, something like that. Because that's kind of where he's kind of average between like 5 and 6 innings for his his road starts. So I think if they can get into that Tampa bullpen, then I think I think you got a shot. I like it, Servo. I wish you nothing but the best, sir.
Appreciate it. Yeah, and I have the game on in the background here, and I was just checking the weather because it looks like there is a little rain. They're starting on time here, but maybe a little messy. Maybe there's some errors in the field. We stretch off, another run because of that. I'll take it.
Sure. And listen, anything helps, right? Absolutely anything helps.
Yeah. All right, so we'll keep an eye on that. Give you guys some updates. Hopefully, you got that pick in, or maybe you're fading me, and I'll take that too. Whatever, I'm not always right. We're not. No one's ever right all the time in this. But yeah, we'll track that coming up. But let's get to some of our best bets in MLB tonight. Not a full slate of games tonight, but enough action where we can get some nice picks out. So, by the way, check out Howard's article up on Fantasy Alarm right now to get some of his written, more in-depth thoughts on some of these picks. But Howard, what's your best bet for tonight?
Well, I gotta tell you, Servo. So if you read the best bets column, you'll see what I'm doing today. Short slate. I don't love the pitching matchups at all. So I'm kind of hitting on some plus odds, in a number of different spots. So this is going to be either one of those days where I go down 5 units, like another 5 units, or this is a day that really turns me around for that slump I had in early May. So my best bet for today, where I'm going, is the Rangers team total. I'm taking it over 5.5. I got this on Caesars at plus 115. Similar bet was like plus 110 over on BetMGM. And I think DK had it at somewhere in the neighborhood of like a plus 105. So I kind of did. Listen, I mean, the Rangers bats are ridiculous right now. They really are. Over a 400 WOBA over the past week. Second best numbers just to the Rays against right-handed pitching. So, I mean, was it Brandon Belock? Is that who it is? It's not. Who the Texas Rangers face?
Oh no, they're facing Wainwright.
It's Waino. That's what it was.
Yeah.
St. Louis. Because I saw that you had I was just looking at the screen and I saw that you had something there with Houston. But yeah, I mean, listen, as I said in the article, I love Adam Wainwright as a baseball fan, but I love him even more as a bettor because I love that he's 41 years old and still trying it, and the Cardinals just keep sending him on out there. So, I'm going to chase a little extra plus odds here, and I think that, I think the Rangers can do this not only against Wainwright, but their bullpen has been over the past week too.
Yeah, and I'm completely behind this pick. I gotta tell you here because I have a pick coming up for this full game. Might include this matchup as well, but looking at the full game there, and I like the Rangers offense in this matchup for sure. I mean, they've scored double-digit runs in the back-to-back games and 3 of the past 5 or 3 of the past 6 games here. So they're running hot here, as you mentioned. They're really one of the best offense. I mean, they have been all year, but especially lately. And at home is where we love them. And the matchup against Waino. I mean, what's up with Wainwright? I think he's just one of those aging pitchers that's just kind of, having that year where it's like, all right, maybe this is the end. Maybe it's time for him to hang it up. We'll see if he turns it around this year, but not looking good right now.
It is not looking good for him. I mean, listen, he's 41 years old. The dude's been through like multiple surgeries. I mean, this is the tail end of a fantastic career. Nothing. I remember being at the Fantasy Sports and Gaming Association's conference when we were doing the draft and we were covering it on Sirius XM, and Adam Wainwright called the station during the draft just to chastise the 11 teams who passed on him, and he just sat and praised that. I think it was Greg Ambrosius and Tom Kesenick from the NFBC. I think they took him, but they took him in something like it was like the 12th round. And Waino was like, "I am not a 12th round." So I love him so much, but yeah, it's done. I mean, we've seen it, right? You get these guys who are just older. They're not throwing with as much movement. The velocity is down. I always picture an older pitcher, I always picture like, some of the, like the Jamie Moyers or the dude from Major League who's like, Bardol, Vagisil, some Crisco up here, and if the ump's if he's watching me close, I just a little jalapeno, So, I mean, that's kind of how I picture what Waino is right now on the big league level. Mad respect for him. Absolutely love him. And his big league impact charity is one of the absolute best that we love supporting. But yeah, I'm betting against him.
Well, yeah, you mentioned like Moyer and some of these older pitchers that could survive late in their careers. I mean, that was before they started checking pitchers after every other inning. So Waino can't really have anything on his hat or his hair right now, but Jamie Moyer could. We, not to call him out or anything there. But by the way, we got James Grande chiming in, saying, "Why is DraftKings telling me I can't use 8 Rangers players in the same lineup tonight?" He's talking about stacking Rangers in his DFS lineups. Yeah, must be an error on their end. Yeah, I mean, they're going to be a popular stack as people bet their team total, as Howard just said, and that game total. And by the way, check James and John and Pemba out coming up at 5:00 Eastern after us for that MLB DFS live show that they do every day to help you build some lineups for DraftKings FanDuel lineups, and after we give you guys some picks.
Dude, this is the time now. I've like touted this. I've gone through it. James and John are going to back us up on the DFS show, and Waino's going 6 1/3 scoreless frames with 4 hits allowed, 3 walks, but he just keeps getting all these ground ball double plays. We're screwed. We're done.
Well, and then to even pile on more, my home run call, my daily dinger a little bit later might include a Texas Rangers hitter, so we'll get to that in a bit. But Howard is hiding.
I got to burrow for this one.
We'll see. We'll be that game tonight. We'll definitely be tracking it for our DFS and our MLB bets. But we'll see. Hopefully the Rangers come through. But yeah, let me get to my best bet. You mentioned the Astros, so I'm going their offense here, though. I'm not fading Brandon Bielak here. I'm going with their offense because they're facing Alek Manoah, another guy like Wainwright. I don't know what is up, but this guy is he's a dumpster fire every time he's taken the mound. I mean, he's shown flashes of talent, obviously, in the past. He went All-Star, but I don't know what is happening this year. 5.46 ERA, 6.27 FIP, 6.44 expected ERA. He's allowed 5 runs on his own in 3 of the past 6 starts. So I'm seeing the team total at 4.5 here, and they can even go over this total before Manoah's even out of the game. But teams are scoring on average 6.3 runs per game over Manoah's last 6 starts, where he's really just hit some bumps in the road, and at least 6 runs scored in 5 of those 6. And I think this team total is just a run or 2 too low. I like the Astros here. They're top 5 offense lately against right-handed pitching, a 345 WOBA, 122 WRC plus over the past week against righties. And they've scored 5 or more runs in 8 of their last 10 games. That doesn't include yesterday, by the way. They kind of got shut down by the Angels, but I think they bounced back, wake back up because of this matchup, even though it's on the road in Toronto. I think they're going to really light up Manoah here because he hasn't shown that he can really put together a solid outing where he's not allowing multiple runs.
Well, I found out where Alek Manoah went to elementary school, and then I hit up on Facebook a couple of his old classmates. You look at the old class pictures, you kind of figure out who the bullies are. Now, Manoah was a big kid, so he didn't get bullied all that much, but he did get harassed into being called Alek Manure. So I've been kind of throwing that in there with my analysis of the player. But yeah, he's been terrible. This game here, the over/under is 10. And I wanted to jump all over it, but considering I've got Manoah in a couple of my fantasy leagues on the bench, relax. But I couldn't back the over in that because 10 runs was it just seems like a lot. And I'm with you, man. I mean, Toronto's bats against Bielak, Astros bats against Manoah. This one, it could have some fireworks. I think the 10 might be like kind of spot on though.
Yeah, the full game over under is tough for me. I looked at that as well, but I think I have more faith and confidence in the Astros doing their thing against Alek Manoah than Brandon Bielak. As you mentioned, he's not the best, but he's got better numbers than Manoah this year. So
which is really telling about how bad a start Manoah's had to the season. So upset.
So yeah, I'll just back the Astros part of that, and hope for them to keep their hot offense going. So I like that matchup. Before we get to some more picks here, MLB picks for tonight, just want to give a preview and any possible picks we have for tonight's Stanley Cup Finals game, game 2 between the Golden Knights and the Florida Panthers. We got the Golden Knights up 1-0. As you mentioned, you took their money line in game 1. And tonight is game 2. They're small favorites again at home for this game 2 tonight. I want to also bring in our producer, Adam Bernard, because he's a co-host of the Bettor Hockey Now show on Bettor Sports Network. So guys, go check that out. There's a new episode that posted today. So after we're done here, go watch that to get some more expanded thoughts between him and Anthony Rivera, right? With co-host today with you, Adam.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a miscommunication on the timing with Mr. Christopher Moraes, but he'll be back in for the next one later in the week.
Sweet. Yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye out for that. But yeah, on that show, so Adam, where are you going with this game? What's kind of your overall thoughts on this series that's leading to you making a pick for tonight's game?
So usually when you have a game 1 of the Stanley Cup, especially after a layoff like that, usually there's a feeling out period. There was no feeling out period. They got right to it, and that was fun to see the way the game unfolded. Florida certainly sent a message that they're not going to back down and they're going to be in your face all series, to a detriment because they had to kill 7 penalties and allow 2 power play goals for Vegas there. So coming into tonight, if Florida can stay out of the box, it was a close game. Otherwise, Adin Hill had to make a couple of huge saves, including that one we all saw where he was sliding one way and his stick had to go reach out and poke the puck out the other way. So I think tonight I'm looking at Florida on the money line for sure. They got to win tonight. You go back 0-2, the series isn't over, but all that momentum that everybody talked about Florida having is pretty much out the window if they're traveling back 0-2.
Well, that's kind of where I was at with the with the game 1, and I worried about the layoff, and and everybody, literally everybody we talked to, told me that the layover was not a big deal. It was actually helpful because the players get healthy, but we saw Bobrovsky, just in that third period, and it was just listen, it just happened. I mean, granted, five goals, one of them was an empty netter. Everybody's I think a lot of people kind of forget about that, but still, I mean, he didn't see a lot of shots. I mean, that was the whole thing, is that, and I got to shout out to Jason Wolf, who did a prop bet of taking the under 29.5 saves for Bobrovsky in game 1. And I tailed that pick. I forgot about that. It just hit. I tailed that pick, and I was like, because I dug it. I was like, yeah, dude's gonna end up like giving up 7 goals, and he's gonna make like 25 saves, and so it hit on the under for that one. That was a great one there. So shout out to Jason Wolf. But Adam, I'm gonna go against that grain again. I know that everybody wants Florida to do it, but I'm leaning Vegas on the money line tonight with the. Believe it or not, I'm leaning the under. I think Florida plays a much more sensible game. I don't think that they attack as much. Yeah, see, there it is. It's 140 on the money line. It's got a little juice to it, but I like the under at even money, just for the sake that I do think that Florida tightens everything up a little bit more, and we get a game tonight like 3-2, 3-1 with an empty netter. I think we'll see an improved overall performance here, but I'm still going to lean Vegas.
I agree on the under. I think just because Florida is going to be more disciplined tonight, Paul Maurice is going to tell them, hey guys, love the energy. Let's maybe dial it back from a 15 to a 10. So I think that certainly helps getting the score down a little bit. Vegas. Now the argument to pick Vegas tonight, in Vegas on 5-on-5, that's where they do their damage. When they played the Capitals a few years ago in the Stanley Cup, they won game 1 and then lost 4 straight. The 6 guys in that locker room that were there, Jonathan Marchessault even said it in one of the press conferences or media day or whatever it is. 2018, we were happy to be here. We won game 1. And it kind of got away from us. It was kind of like we won the Stanley Cup in game 1. Those guys are going to be very conscious of that tonight. There's a lot of veteran leadership in that room. They're going to make sure that, like, hey, one game doesn't mean anything. And if we go back to Florida 1-1, as they always say, it's not a series until the road team wins a game. So, I still think Florida gets it tonight, but it's not a strong lean for me. And I could certainly see Vegas taking care of business as well. But if that happens, the series is going to get away from Florida very quickly.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to see that happen. I would love to just go back to Florida and, even up the series for anything. Even if Vegas wins tonight, I'm still taking Florida for game 3 because they're not. Yeah.
Just a couple of more little stat nuggets here. Florida is 3-1 coming off of losses in the postseason, and they're 6-2 in their last 8 times coming back off of a road loss that going back, I believe, to March. So there is some stuff there that Florida has. And obviously, they came back against Boston. So they're not strangers to being down. And if they, like we said, if we could just stay out of the box, they're very comfortable playing in even games or 1-goal deficit games. That's what Florida's made their bread and butter on in the playoffs this year. So stay out of the box and they'll probably go home with a 1-1 split.
That's a great point.
Howard, I'm sorry. Adam convinced me. I'm taking the Florida Panthers in the money line. I got plus 120 here on DraftKings. I got to go with it after all those stats you just threw.
Listen, man, I'm not gonna argue against it. It's been an absolute. I love this run for Florida. I really do. Yeah. Again, I'll tell you flat out. Had Vegas turned around and just like beaten the Stars in 5 games, I would have been all in on Florida for the start of this. A 10-day layoff just is so it's so tough to kind of get back into the groove there. And I think, like you said, Adam, they were over aggressive in game 1. And I think that over aggression was like, we got to make sure that we don't come out sluggish or anything like that. And it wasn't sluggish, but it was sloppy.
And kudos to Vegas for not taking the bait. And yeah, there was some skirmishes and a lot of back and forth,
Yep.
But they knew to skate away, and that's very important at this time of the year.
Yep.
Hey, Adam, I got to ask you, because if you think Florida can win tonight, is it worth taking them on the series prop to win? Because if they win tonight, the odds are going to go down for them. So this is probably the best price you can get it at, right?
If you still think Florida's going to win, then yeah, definitely jump on the odds tonight. And I'll also say this, bringing up the Conn Smythe odds here. If you still think Matthew Tkachuk is your guy, he was at plus 325 going into game 1. He's now at plus 450 going into game 2. So there's some value there. If you still think Tkachuk's going to be the guy to get you through and they're going to win, that would be a guy you want to place a bet on right now.
All right. Yeah, and the Panthers are plus 180 on DraftKings to win the series, and the Knights are minus 220. So, if you think you want to wait after tonight's game to even bet on the Knights, if you think they might lose, then that'll be even better price for them. So, yeah.
You know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see what the series prop ends up going if Vegas goes up 2 games to none after tonight. Like, because then I would immediately look to like Florida plus 1.5 games.
Yeah.
And see what the odds are over there, because I think like 2 down, there's going to be a little bit of exaggeration and overreaction to it, and I think that would actually make a fairly sensible bet.
To relate it to the NBA Finals, by the way, it's like, the Heat were such big underdogs in that game 2, but if you looked at their series price, I mean, it was basically everyone was writing in pen that the Nuggets would win the series after that game 1 win. But if you pounced on their series odds or like you mentioned like their series spread after that game 1 loss, you got a really good price. And now it's tied up going back to Miami. I mean, who knows? As you mentioned with this Florida, if Florida ties it up going back to Florida, then who knows? So,
have you guys seen all the evidence about the fact that the Miami Heat are going to win this series? Like, you can bet them at plus 225 right now. It's the Taylor Swift curse, guys. And go.
I have heard this,
right? So look at all of the teams who have lost in the NBA playoffs right now. Golden State and the Lakers, those Taylor Swift shows aren't until July, but every Taylor Swift show at an NBA locale has lost already, and she has no show in Miami. It's in Tampa. It's not right next door. It's Tampa. You still got to go all the way across like Alligator Alley to make sure that happens. But all of a sudden,
have they played in Denver?
What's that? Yeah, she's playing in Denver very soon, actually.
Oh wow! All right.
I mean, her reach is just, I learn every day just like how far wide reaching her power is. I mean, it's not just the musical world anymore. She's branching out.
Dude, think about it. The tour, the Eras Tour opened in Phoenix. Didn't everybody have the Phoenix Suns like going to the playoffs and winning the whole thing when they got Durant?
Yeah.
Taylor Swift
said, I thought Phoenix Denver was the Western Conference Finals. That's what I thought.
See? And there's Taylor Swift doing the Matumbo.
Well, so is it just an NBA thing, or are we relating this to the Stanley Cup? Has she played in Vegas, or is she?
I'm sure she is, but I guess if you're talking about the Florida Panthers, she's playing in Tampa. So I don't necessarily know if it works in the same way here, Servo. Stick to NBA.
I was just trying to stretch it, I love a good conspiracy theory.
I just want to make sure that we can hashtag Taylor Swift on this broadcast here. So all the Swifties come looking, including Aaron Rodgers.
Taylor Swift.
Looking for the Vegas tour dates. I'm not seeing it. No Vegas. She goes after Los Angeles. She heads to South America, Central America, and then South America.
Oh, there it is. Put the money on the Golden Knights right now because she is playing somewhere in Florida.
All right, hold on while I parlay the Heat and the Golden Knights.
Tell me what that looks like. Tell me what that looks like. That makes me so
The Heat
happy.
are plus 225 to win the series right now. Not too bad.
Come on.
And the Knights are minus 220. So it does. So if you parlay plus 372 on DraftKings, if you want to go
plus
that route.
372.
The Taylor Swift parlay.
Dude, I'll throw a half a unit on that right now. I will throw a half a unit on that right now.
I don't think it's crazy for the Heat to win that series, honestly. After seeing last night, I mean, winning in Denver, which no team has done in the NBA playoffs yet. So they've completely surprised everyone with the Celtics series win. I mean, they could do it here with the Nuggets. So all right, let's get back.
I've got it here at not Vegas. I had Florida there. Yeah, 372.
Oh, that would have been some juicy odds there.
Oh, Florida. Dude, did you take in Florida there? That would have put it over plus 800. But yeah, I love this 372.
Well, that's the. I think it was with James Grande last week when he was on. We talked about how because we had Ronis on, talking about all the Florida teams having success. FAU making the Final Four. We got the Florida Panthers. We got the Miami Heat. And yeah, there's something in the water in Florida. So if you want to, we were mentioning, if you want to just, put the Rays to beat the Marlins in the World Series, then go for that one.
And just in case you're curious, the Dolphins to win the AFC East is plus 400 right now. Just in case you wanted to throw that.
Dolphins to win the
AFC East plus 400.
That's not out of the question. I mean, that could happen.
Can I, you know what? I want to say something here about win totals just for a moment here. Now that you brought it up there, Adam, win totals in the NFL, we're going to do an entire show on this and we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at NFC East and AFC East teams, like I'm getting like a little nervous about that. You talk about, Miami, listen, if Tua is healthy, that's the linchpin of that team. If Tua is healthy, that team is easily going places. The Jets now with Rodgers is improved. Buffalo is still rock solid. And you never discount the Patriots. On the other side, in the NFC, there's only one lame duck team, and that's the Washington Commanders. And, that just, we'll see what happens with Sam Howell. But Eagles, Giants, and Cowboys, all solid teams. That we're going to see because the AFC East and the NFC East and the interconference matchups, that's going to vastly affect certain things. I think it's not as many gimme games as a lot of people might think.
Yeah, and you see, like, just the general perception of which team's going to be the worst in those divisions. There's low win totals on, like, you mentioned the Commanders, if they're the bottom tier, or I think a lot of people probably think the Patriots are going to be the bottom tier of the AFC East. But their win totals, it's like, if you think they could steal a couple games there, pounce on their win totals, be over, because there's going to be one of these teams, like, I know everyone loves the Jets, and I'm sorry, Howard, but, like, there's a chance the Jets aren't that great with Rodgers this year,
Whoa, dude, come on.
I mean,
I know.
We're talking about Wainwright, aging players. There's a chance that he just is kind of falling off, like we saw with Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, and they just don't live up to expectations. So there's a chance there that, like, we have, a team like the Patriots who their win totals just maybe a win or two too low, as people have been betting up the win totals of, like, the Jets or, the Dolphins, as you mentioned, are another team that you could kind of buy low on right now. But yeah, we'll definitely have some shows breaking down all those win totals, over-unders, futures for NFL. Matt Deutsch saying, never apologize to a Jets fan.
Yeah. You want a piece of me? You want a piece of me, Deutsch? Come on. He and I are going to be in Cleveland together at the FSGA conference, and this is what he's doing? I don't know, man.
By the way, Adam Bernard in our chat says the Commanders / WFT fan. I am an Eagles fan. Do you see this stadium right here? This is a signed picture by Vince Papale himself. So I am fully an Eagles fan.
Vince Papale.
A Philly legend. All right, let's get back to some MLB here. By the way, go check out the Prize Picks video up on fantasyalarm.com right now and on YouTube. He is John Impemba has those for you today, and he always gives you some winners there if you're looking at props. It's a short video, so you can go check that out. But he's got a prop that you might be in on as well. So I want to, and a player you might be in on as well. So who is this player? Tell us why here.
All right. Well, we could definitely, there's a lot to talk about here. And for those of you who are in states where gambling isn't legal and you deal with the prop games like we see with Prize Picks, I mean, this is you're in a great spot. Go to Fantasy Alarm. If you haven't signed up over there yet, do it. Go to fantasyalarm.com /Prize Picks. Use that promo code ALARM, and they'll match your deposit up to $100 in full. So do that over there, and then do these little parlays. Impemba over there today on his video. I'll just give it all away right now because that's the kind of guy I am. He's got Corey Seager over 8 fantasy points and Nick Castellanos over 1.5 total bases. So, I mean, if you haven't watched Castellanos play right now and what he's been doing recently, I mean, multi-hit game for the 1.5 total bases. I like that. Corey Seager over 8 fantasy points. I actually dig that. I mean, I was looking at Corey Seager props because I took the Texas Rangers on their team total on the over. And, I mean, Seager's putting together a career year right now. And I mean, this is like the breakout campaign that everybody wants. Vegas doesn't seem to have very much faith in him today, which I find really interesting. So Impemba's got him at 8 or more fantasy points. I've got him at plus 145 on DraftKings, just over a half an RBI. He needs 1 RBI for me tonight to cash on a plus 145 line. I was looking at his, hits plus runs plus RBI, and that was at 2.5. But you weren't getting, usually it's 1.5, it's 2.5 here, and you really weren't getting that great of a line on that. So I was like, all right, an RBI, Marcus Semien hitting in front of him. The way the bottom end of that lineup, that Texas lineup is hitting right now, I feel like they can set the table for him to give me an RBI on that. And at plus 145, Servo, come on. I mean, it's plus 145. I
like that. And we're fading Wainwright again here with this pick. So.
Right. Adam, I'm so sorry. I love you, brother. I do. You're one of my favorites, but.
And again, to tease it, this won't be the last time one of us is fading Wainwright tonight. So with one of our picks, so we'll get to that in a little bit. All right, I'll throw out another pick because I'm lockstep with Impemba on the Castellanos prop. I like his over 1.5 total bases tonight. He's on fire, hitting 463 over his past 7 games, hitting 361 with a 968 OPS over his past 15 games. A guy that's hitting much better at home this year, 363 average at home. And he's hitting lefties better throughout his career. And he's got Joey Wentz tonight for the Tigers, who has a 7.28 ERA this year, an 8.47 ERA over 4 road starts. He's a guy that if he didn't play for the Tigers, he might not be in a big league rotation right now, but he is playing for the Tigers. So they're sending him out there every 5 games. I like Castellanos' total bases here. Another guy, his hits, runs, RBIs prop, it was juiced up to it's like minus 165 I saw on DraftKings. So usually I do like those props over total bases, but I have faith that Castellanos can either get multiple hits in this one or get a double or an extra base hit and go over that total. He's been over 1.5 total bases in 7 of his last 10 games. So, yeah, I like the Castellanos pick there by Impemba, and you're on Seager. So we're both agreeing with John here.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, and that's just, I mean, that's the fun part about joining on Prize Picks, because you can look at these and you do like you can set it that you could do even a 3-leg parlay and just set it that if you hit 2 out of 3, there's still that ability to do it. But yeah, and Pemba's been so good with his Prize Picks calls, and I mean, you can go to fantasyalarm.com and just look at his track record there with Prize Picks. I think it's absolutely fantastic. So again, fantasyalarm.com/Prize Picks, promo code alarm gets you up to $100, 100% match on your first deposit. I'm going to go back to that Houston-Toronto game, Servo, that we were talking about. Right. I'm taking the Jays on the money line because I think that that B-Lock sucks more than Manua does. And, I'm going with that. But here you go. You want to talk about one of the hottest hitters right now, Brandon Belt. And I wouldn't do this, if it was, it was any other time, but that he is really hot right now. He's got like a 545 weighted on base average over his last 7 days. And he's going up against B-Lock, who's a right-hander who gives up power. It's at home in Toronto. So I took Brandon Belt over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBI at minus 105 on DraftKings Sportsbook. So you can't parlay them together for who knows what reason. But Blue Jays money line, minus 115. Brandon Belt over on that prop. Like I said, Servo, I'm looking for some fun odds tonight. For my MLB bets.
I looked at Belts too. I did not ultimately go that way, but I might have to do it now that you're on it because I looked at his hits, runs, RBIs, or his total bases as well in this matchup, and might have to do it now. Now I have to tell you, so I like that. By the way, go to the MLB DFS playbook. Check that out. James Grande is on that today, and if you haven't already, go sign up for the All Pro package at fantasyalarm.com. Use promo code alarm50 to get 50% off your first 6 months and start a free trial to get all of our DFS playbooks, award-winning playbooks for every sport. There'll be one for tonight's Stanley Cup Final, Wednesday's NBA Finals, NASCAR, PGA, everything going on right now in the sports world. We got you guys covered. So go check that out for tonight's DFS playbook by James Grande. And a couple pictures he mentions in there I have props for, and I'm glad he mentions them because I'm high on them as well. One of them is making his MLB debut, Andrew Abbott for the Cincinnati Reds. He's playing the Milwaukee Brewers, and Howard, we both like targeting this matchup for strikeout props because they've been striking out a ton this year, whether it's against righties or lefties. The Brewers have the highest strikeout rate against lefties this year at 29.3% in the MLB. And over the past 2 weeks, it's a little bit lower at 25% against lefties strikeout rate, but they're hitting 179 against southpaws. Abbott is lefty here, and the line is 5.5 strikeouts. I like the over here because he's been a high strikeout pitcher as well in the AAA. it's AAA, it's the minors, but he's been striking out a ton of guys in the minors. I think he's going to come in and just face a Brewers team that's, the unfamiliarity of facing like a guy like Abbott, who's coming in and making his debut. I think he can have some success in this matchup. And he was over 5.5 strikeouts in 6 of his 7 AAA starts this year before being called up. Like, I know it's against the minors, but I think he's still going to have some swing and miss success here against a team that is striking out a ton against lefties.
Yeah, it's going to come down to the Brewers and their plate discipline tonight. If these guys turn around, if they're just super aggressive and they're trying to jump all over them because this matchup is in Great American Small Park, then it definitely could be troublesome for Milwaukee. It's a tough call here, because you look at a kid like Abbott and he's got great stuff, absolutely phenomenal stuff. But yes, it's in the International League, which, I'd say probably plays more neutral than it does to being pitcher friendly. But, my only concern is that, the debut, he's amped up. He's going to throw a lot of pitches. He's going to be worried that if he does serve up something in the zone that maybe somebody parks it into the stands. You do have a couple of hitters who do handle left-handed pitching somewhat okay. So, I mean, it's a risky one just because it's a guy's MLB debut.
For sure.
And so, I think if you're just looking to throw like half a unit on there because he's so new, because it is in Cincinnati, I don't see a problem with throwing that 5.5 strikeouts. You do just need him. He's got to go like 5 innings, at least 5 innings to hit that.
Yeah. I mean, the home runs, possibility of him allowing, a few home runs tonight is definitely there. It's definitely worrisome. He had some home run issues actually in the minors, looking at his game logs and his stats this year, but he still has thrown a ton of Ks. He's had games with like 7, 8, 9 strikeouts. Again, it is in AAA against that International League, as you mentioned, but I think he could just, even if he's allowing a couple home runs, I still think the outs he's going to get might be coming by strikeout. So even if he is just, maybe he throws 5 innings here, I think he can get over 5.5 strikeouts. And so there is some worry though, obviously, with the guy making his debut, but maybe he's just amped up and in a good way. It kind of goes in his favor there. Another lefty strikeout prop I'm going to take here, and it's in the DFS playbook as well as a guy that James Grande is high on for DFS purposes, so you can check that out. But just for his strikeouts, I like him to go over 5.5 is Braxton Garrett for the Miami Marlins. Also a play I wrote up for the MLB underdog picks over on Fantasy Alarm if you want to check that out as well. But he got rocked by the Braves for 11 runs back in the beginning of May. He allowed 11 runs over 4 1/3 innings. But since then, he's been really good. 2.67 ERA over his last 5 starts. And if you take out that start against the Braves where he blew up for 11 runs allowed, he has a 2.63 ERA this year. Has been a lot better than his overall numbers if you just look at his season as just blindly at his numbers overall. But he's been strong, and in his last month, over his last 5 starts, he's been over 5.5 strikeouts in 4 of the last 5. So that outing is kind of like a blemish, but he's responded well, bounced back strong. At home today against the Royals, who have a 26% strikeout rate against lefties over the past 2 weeks, which is bottom 5 in the MLB over this span. And it's notably worse than their season-long numbers against southpaws. So this trending down against lefties. I like this matchup here for Garrett against the Royals. 5.5 is the number. I think if he can just get to, maybe he's throwing 5 or 6 innings, but even 5 innings, I think he's going to have more than a strikeout per inning in this start.
I will not go against you on that one, dude. Listen, anytime you're talking Royals strikeouts, I'm perfectly fine with that. I've underestimated Braxton Garrett throughout the entire season anyway, so I am not the Braxton Garrett expert at all.
Just looking at his game log, you realize, all right, he had a terrible start against the Braves, but has been really good since then, or besides that start. So yeah, I think it's a guy. His ERA is not great, on the surface, but he's a better pitcher than I think that number indicates. So, I like that one.
My last bet. I got one more to give you guys. One more, again, getting it plus odds, plus 105 on BetMGM. I believe it was plus money on Caesars as well. I'm taking the Pirates, and I'm taking them on the run line. I don't normally like to take home teams on the run line, because if they've got a 1-run lead going into the 9th inning and the team doesn't tie it up, well, there's no bottom of the 9th to worry about, and that always kind of screws you over a little bit. But listen, this is lefty JP Sears on Oakland. I get it. People think that he's performed better in the last couple of starts, and he's had some okay success. Go look at his road ERA. His road ERA is like near 6, while his home ERA is below 3. The Pirates do handle left-handed pitching well. The Pirates, believe it or not, have been one of the top hitting teams in the major leagues over the past week. They're not doing it with a lot of power. They're hitting you with, just singles. They're peppering you with base hits, and things are dropping in very well for them right now. So I think that the Pirates have enough firepower that they can put some runs up on JP Sears. And then you got Johan Oviedo on the other side for Pittsburgh. Good, not great. But I mean, again, this Oakland lineup is like, I don't know, man. They're like, there's still talk about, if they don't move to Vegas, that they want to like swap out the Sacramento River Cats with the Oakland A's, and just swap those two teams right there. So they're bad. They're bad.
Yeah, I looked at this game too, and just the pure matchup against the A's on the road is definitely one you like to target. So I can get behind that one. By the way, an update on I gave a pick out when we first started this show, and if anybody tailed it, so far I'm sorry, because it's a 0-0 game. 0-0. We got a long way to go. It's only the end of the third inning. So
yeah, what are you worried about?
Well, you like to see maybe a run or two in the first few innings just to get some confidence building. But
dude, you were taking a risk going up against McClanahan anyway. So I mean,
I fully understand that. I'm waiting for the Rays bullpen to get in the game so we can get some runs then.
What we need to see, what I want to take a look at right now, is how many pitches has McClanahan thrown through 3 innings? 41 pitches. So that's not good for you, Servo. You need him to have like a really tough inning, like a 4th inning, where they just kind of not just hit him around, but just force him to go deeper into counts.
41 pitches through 3 isn't like great either. Like if you want him, he could get through 6. Like you mentioned, if he has 1 inning that he gets a little bit more, he might not go past 6 innings. We'll see.
You hope.
My last pick before we get to some home run calls for tonight, some daily dingers. I'm tailing partially what Howard gave out as his best bet for the Rangers team total, and I like the full game over for the Cardinals Rangers over 9.5. I got it at on BetMGM. The Wainwright matchup on the one side, or FanDuel, I got it at actually 9.5. But we all know the Wainwright side of things against the Rangers, and Howard ran through some stats earlier. The Rangers have been smashing right-handed pitching this whole season over the last 2 weeks. One of the, I think the best offense at home in terms of multiple categories. So this is a matchup immediately for the Rangers to do their thing against Wainwright. But on the other side, Martin Perez he's been up and down this year for the Rangers. 4.43 ERA this year, a 5.01 FIP. And the Cardinals are an offense that hits lefties well. They're among the top 5, top 10 teams over the last couple weeks, and this whole season against left-handed pitching, hitting 374 WOBA against over the past 3 weeks against lefties. So I think the Cardinals can also add to this total, get us over 9.5. But I think the Rangers offense is definitely one I have my eye on to have success here.
Yeah, you can say it's Martin Perez, not Martin. Martin. He's got a little accent over that I. And what does that mean? Is a Martin just teeing off on Martin Perez? Yeah, dude, he's not a good pitcher. You know what the funny thing though is that every time I bet against Martin Perez, I get screwed. Like, I bet against Martin Perez. Seriously, I kid you not. I would say the last like 3 times I bet against Martin Perez, he's gone like 7 innings and given up like 2 or fewer runs.
Yeah, he has better numbers at home this year. So I do like your pick of the Rangers team total. I think that's the side I feel more confident in that total going over. But I still think the whole game can go over 10 runs here. Maybe the Rangers get 8 of them. I'll be fine with that. By the way, before we get to home run calls, just got to remind you guys, play pub trivia tonight at 8 Eastern. Join Simon, Joey, and Tim from Front Yard Fantasy on that show. Test your fantasy football knowledge by answering questions on the Bettor Sports Network app as the show is going on. Chat live with our community at BSN. Tonight's theme is Dungeons and Dragons. How about that? Download the app for free in the Apple app and Google app stores for the Bettor Sports Network, so you can watch that play pub trivia tonight with the Front Yard Fantasy guys. All right, let's get to our daily dingers before we get out of here. Our home run calls. Who you got, Howard?
For plus 340, why not just take Fernando Tatis Jr.? I mean, dude's hitting the ball really, really well. I definitely, I'm a big fan of him. It's Kyle Hendricks on the mound for the Cubs tonight. And I mean, Kyle Hendricks is not a good pitcher at all. So, I mean, for plus 340, I might as well sprinkle a half unit on Fernando Tatis Jr. I put him into, we do a home run call contest on Twitter at Fantasy Alarm every morning, and we always kind of line up who our picks are for that. So I like that picture that we got of Tatis right there. That's him eyeballing it right there. It's going yard.
Yeah, he's just giving a thumbs up to the people. They're like, I got you tonight. I'm hitting a home run tonight.
I like it. What about you?
My pick is Jonah Heim, plus 600 on FanDuel. I got it at, which is interesting because he's about plus 400 on like DraftKings and BetMGM. So plus 600. You can see in this picture here, you can see his hair. You know, Jonah Heim's one of those guys that has longer hair, right? You're used to that, right, Howard?
Am I used to that? Not me personally, but him.
No, but
yes.
Yeah, Jonah Heim being one of those players in the league that's had the longer hair. Well, 2 games ago, he cut his hair. Like me, you can see I cut my hair today. Jonah Heim cut his hair. He's got a short haircut now. And guess what? He's 4 for 9 over the last 2 games. This is like, reverse losing his power.
Wow, wait. Does he have any home runs?
He hit a home run yesterday.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. So his power's still there.
This is your anti-Samson and Delilah pick, is what you're saying.
Anti-Samson pick here. He's got confidence in him. He's going to go back-to-back after hitting a homer yesterday. So I'm going plus 600 here. We mentioned that matchup against Wainwright. Waino has allowed 3 homers this year, and all of them come on road starts, 2 road starts, and he's allowed a homer in each one. So I think someone from the Rangers is going here, going deep here. So I like Heim to keep it going with the haircut. And he was, go follow James Grande because I threw his pick out on James's Twitter feed there for home run calls for tonight. So, and by the way, coming up after us, 5:00 Eastern, you can check James Grande, John and Pemba out on that MLB DFS live show as they help you build some lineups. Go check out his MLB DFS playbook. Mention the All-Pro package, promo code ALARM50 to get those first 6 months 50% off. So do that and go watch their show to build some lineups on DraftKings, FanDuel. Coming up a little bit later, we got a replay of us at 6:00 Eastern before these games get going. So you can, if you missed any of this show, you can go check that out later today after Impemba and Grande. 7:00 Eastern, we got the Quick Outs Fantasy Football Show here on Bettor Sports Network. And then 8:00 Eastern, I mentioned the Pub Trivia Bettor Cast for you guys to play along with the Front Yard Fantasy guys. And then 9:00 Eastern, Monday Night Rants with Edward Rouse, our guy, Edward, killing it every Monday night on the Bettor Sports Network. Howard, it's been awesome. I'll have you back on Wednesday as we give out some picks. But awesome as always on a Monday night, giving out some winners for the people.
Always a great time to spend with you here, man. I wish you nothing but success on all of your bets because they do not conflict with any of mine. So let's make some money, yo.
Yeah, let's see the Rangers score some runs against Wainwright. That's all we need. Appreciate everyone watching. We'll be back tomorrow at 4 o'clock Eastern. Me and John and Pembo will be on the show, but we'll catch you then. Take care, everyone.
Bettor Sports Betting on the Bettor Sports Network.